Olympic gold medalist Jackie Joyner-Kersee had a fantastic quote that I think really sums up this concept of viewing challenges as opportunities. And she said, "I drive as much happiness from the process as I do from the results. I don't mind losing as long as I see improvement. If I lose, I just go back to the track and work some more." I think that's a wonderful way for us to think about what it means to have a growth mindset. The process is just as important. If you lose, you go back to work and you work some more. In fact, there's a great story about this. I recently interviewed Beth Comstock for a podcast of mine. And Beth Comstock was sharing a story about how she wanted to implement something inside of her organization back when she worked at NBC. Now, Beth Comstock is the former CMO of GE and vice chair of GE. So she was one of the top executives at one of the world's largest and most known companies. But prior to that, she worked at NBC and she had this idea for something that she wanted to launch inside of the company. And so she spent a lot of time, a lot of effort. She put together her ideas and she went to go present this concept to her boss. And her boss reviewed everything carefully and he said, "No, it's not going to happen." And so Beth took all this information, she took the feedback, she went back, she spent more time, more energy trying to fix all the holes that were in her idea, trying to deal with all the rejections that she was given. And she came back to her boss again. And she said, "Look, I've made all of these adjustments. Now what do you think about my idea?" And again, he said no. Again, she took back all of that information, all of that feedback, went back to her office, spent a lot of time and energy, weeks, months, came back later again, presented everything to her boss at the time. And finally, the boss said yes. And this took Beth back a little bit. She was like, "Wow, I didn't think you were going to say yes. What made you change your mind?" And he said, "Well, you've made it impossible for me to say no." And when I interviewed Beth about this, she told me that in her mind, she doesn't view no as no. She views no as not yet. And you're probably going to face this too inside of your organization where you're going to be told no a lot. No, you can't do this. No, you shouldn't be doing that. Doors are going to get closed in your face. But I encourage you to think about it in terms of how Beth Comstock thinks about it. No doesn't mean no. It just means not yet. It means going back to the track, working harder, and then getting back into the race again. Remember, everyone faces those challenges. If you think you're the only one that's ever shown up to work unhappy because of an argument that you've had, if you think you're the only one that's ever had a bad day, oh man, you are quite mistaken. Of course, everybody has these bad days. Everybody has these challenges. Again, the difference is how you overcome these, how you think about these challenges, and then the actions that you take. Microsoft is another great example that is in the process of going through this journey, and I think has been doing a fantastic job actually of moving from this concept of fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Now, if you think about the previous executives that used to run Microsoft, Bill Gates, Steve Ballmer, you can argue that the culture and the company underneath those previous leaders was very much about a fixed mindset. It was about know it all, right? Know it all. And now today, under Satya Nadella, Microsoft is moving away from this idea of a know-it-all company to being a learn-it-all company. And this is something that Microsoft and Satya has been championing across the organization, moving again from this fixed mindset to this growth mindset. You don't know everything, but you can learn everything. In fact, in her book, Carol Dweck says, "It's not always the people who start off the smartest who end up the smartest." What would have happened if some of the world's greatest innovators and inventors had given up simply because they felt that they couldn't do something, they couldn't overcome something? What would happen if so many publishers today, so many business leaders just gave up at the first sign where a publisher rejected their book deal, where a company rejected their funding, where a scientist just stopped because they ran into an obstacle and didn't try to find a cure for a particular disease? We would be living in a very different world if everybody just gave up at the first sign of a challenge. So again, the first strategy is to view challenges as opportunities. A challenge isn't the end of the road, it's just an opportunity to grow. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Check out futureofworkpodcast.com for more content. And do me a favor, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or whatever your preferred channel is. Thank you.